The past 30 days, I've been testing covered calls on Robinhood to see if this strategy actually works, and honestly, the results surprised me. So basically, what I did was I found stocks that I could afford to buy 100 shares of. I picked a couple of different positions that had decent premiums, and I bought 100 shares, and then I was selling covered calls every week. I would sell them all on Monday and have them expire on Friday. So it was simple. Everything was sold on the same day and everything expired on the same way. So it was easy to keep track of. And now with this strategy, it really depends on what stocks you chose. So the ones that I chose was Ford. I did this one for a couple of weeks. It ended up getting assigned, but it got assigned at a higher than my average cost. And then I bought it again, and then it got assigned again, and then it went really high. So that one, if I didn't sell covered calls, I probably would have been better off if I still had the stock now. The next one is SoFi. This one is the first one that I did, and the premiums were so good that I wanted to scale up my position. So I bought 200 shares of it, but I bought it at the peak. So my average cost is 1934, and then it went way down. So now, even though I did pretty good selling the calls, $94, $36, $52, $28, $33, the premiums still aren't enough to get back the value that I lost, which is 819. But I still own the stock, so I could keep selling covered calls, chip away the losses, and then as this goes up over time. And then I did some really risky ones. So Mara, I did this one. I got a $50 premium, and then I just sold a $10 one. So I'm about even with that one because on the stock value, I lost 100, but I made over 100 in premiums. So now if this one gets assigned at 1350, I'd get my value back, and then I made all of the premiums. So that one still could go my way. Snapchat, this one, my average cost is 621. It's at 553. So I'm just keep selling the calls until it goes back up in value. So the results in Robinhood, if you go to your options over here, you could see your realized profit and loss. So this month I made $149 with my options. This also includes the regular options that weren't covered calls. Sometimes I'll just buy calls and buy puts and hope they go up in value. And sometimes I make money like this one, sometimes I lose. But overall, $150 from options. But then the downside is the stock value. So with covered calls, the risk is if you buy a stock, especially if you're just starting out like I was, if you buy a stock and buy 100 shares of it, you could be buying it at the peak, and then it could drop right after you buy 100 shares, or in my case, 200 shares. It could kind of fall off a cliff, and then you lose all the value. So now my value is minus 821, 21%. So now it's at 1523. So if I wanted to sell calls, my average cost is up here. So I would get no money for selling these covered calls. And then if I sold one for 1550 and I ended up getting assigned, then that would be way lower than my average cost, and that would lock in my loss. So if I just hold this and it goes up. So basically everything that could have went wrong with covered calls happened when I was doing this. With Ford, I made the premiums and I didn't lose on stock value, but if I would have kept the stock, I would have had a lot of upside because it recently went up really high, like right after I got assigned. With SoFi, that if I would have waited to buy it at 15, could have got it at a discounted price, but now I'm stuck with this lost value. So what I learned is it's very important to research and pick your stocks well. Only choose stock that you want to hold in the long term, and don't do risky, low valued stock. The volatility makes the premiums higher. So if you see really high premiums, that probably means that the stock jumps up and down a lot. So it is very risky. And that's what I learned from hands-on experience here. Am I going to continue to do covered calls? Yes, but I'm going to adjust my strategy a little bit more. I'm going to buy more expensive, better quality stocks, and then not rush the 100-share position. Just buy a little bit over time, and then when it gets to 100 shares and it's a stock that I want to keep long term, then I could sell covered calls on it. So I'm building the system step by step with Robinhood. Subscribe to follow my journey.